And again, I have an empty project. First thing I need to do is bring the material in. So I go back to the import menu, the same as if we were looking for clips. But instead of looking for the clips, I now choose the EDL menu. And I have two EDLs for this particular project. One is an EDL of the offline, and the other one is the actual EDL that we're going to work from. So I can select them both, click on import down here. The first EDL name is at the top of the window here, and all I need to do for this is bring in make a new composition. We can't import the material at this point because we have to go back to the R3D files. If we had generated some CDL information, we check the CDL box here, and that will come back through the metadata. So we've preserved the grading information from onset or from the dailies, or indeed from anywhere else. As long as it's in the EDL, we can now use that information. Click on import. It then asks me what I want to do with the offline. You can see that the default is to bring it into the same composition, which is exactly what I want. And in this case, we can tell it to import the material from paths and conform it, and click on import, and that will go ahead and do that. Close it down. Here at the top is my QuickTime movie. So I'm just going to go back to the beginning of the project, and you can see that FilmMaster passes out the audio information. So if I come down and create an audio track, I can also add audio as a guide down here, and do that. And now I can just play back the movie to see what the offline looks like. The next thing to do is to bring in the R3D file. So I'm just going to select the QuickTime movie and drop it down a track, and you can see now that we're missing all of the media for that edit. So I select track 2, that's the one that we're looking for, click on list capture, gives me a list of all of the red files that we need. FilmMaster supports the timecode from the camera and time of day. So in this case, we're going to start with the first timecode, the camera timecode, and we're going to use the clip name from the file name, and since it's in the clip name itself, we'll set the file name folder to 0. Then we go to capture, point it to the S drive and the red folder. Here we go, back to the same folder that we imported for the dailies. Click on capture, wait for it to scan all of the directories in that parent folder. And here we can see that it's found all the files. I'll just scroll down, make sure that we haven't missed any. That's all fine. And go ahead and conform it. Now, because we've still got the default setting in there, we're still looking at quarter medium. And so not only can I play back now directly from the R3D files, but I can now put up a dual screen split, tell it to compare the R3D files with the original offline. So I'll just do that now. Select the first track. Now I can either play the two together to make sure that they're in sync, or I can simply cue through to the first frame of each cut, make sure that we've got a complete conform. Once I'm happy with the conform, and of course all of this could be done on an assist station if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm just going into the library. I'm going to set the library to recurse, find all of those red clips. I'm filtering by width, so I can see them in size order. We'll see why in the next project. And I'll just go ahead here and select all of the red material, just using Shift, like so. Then we come to the Properties button, and when I open up those properties, you can see all of the camera metadata on the right-hand side, and over here, the decode quality, the ASA ratings, the color Kelvin values, and so on. So when we did the dailies, we were quarter medium, Rec 709. We now want to go up to half medium or half premium and change it from Rec 709 to red log. The reason we like to work with the red log files is it brings in much more of the dynamic range that the camera has captured. It's going to look very flat, that's why we didn't use it for the offline, but it gives us a better grading base. As long as I don't touch any of the other values, the Kelvin values or the ASA values, for example, that information is coming from the metadata clip by clip. So it's important not to change those settings. If I do change those settings, that will change them for the entire library. So just go ahead and click on OK, and you'll see the left-hand side now resize itself to the 2K files, and we'll see the timeline propagate itself with the larger images. There we go, and there it is debayering those. So the playback speed now is the speed of the SDK. So there's my 2K files, and the speed you're seeing it at right now is the speed at which we debayer. However, you can see that the first scene is now already debayered, so that's going to play back in real time for me. We have that cached on the system, and I can go ahead and start grading on it. So I'm going to close that project down, and we'll now look at the same workflow, but instead of using EDL, using the AAF files direct from the Avid. Okay, so here we are back at the project management area. I'm going to make a new project, this time called AAF. Make a new project, open it up. Now we're back at the familiar empty project page, and we go to import. So we have another job here, a commercial, that is done on an Avid, and I'm just going to select the AAF folder for this and click on import. And of course, if we were working directly from a Unity or an ISIS, then the default path name here would be correct, and I could just go ahead and import the AAF. But in this case, the media is on my S drive. So I'm going to navigate through the storage network to Red and Financial Times, click on Avid Media Files, and say OK. So now the system knows where to find my Avid media files. You'll see that we can actually select media files from several places on the storage network. There's 3 by default, but if you need more, that can all be set up in the preferences. So we need a new composition, absolutely. If there is any MXF data, we want to bring that in, and we want to conform it. In this case, the MXF information is going to be my offline copy that I'm matching to. So go ahead and click on import. And it tells me that it can't find the red files because I haven't told it where those are yet. So I just skip that for this part of the process, close that window down, and now you can see the beauty of the AAF format is we've got 3 image tracks and the offline here at the bottom. If I turn off the conform tracks, you'll see the MXF offline here on screen. So we can play that back. Let's just go back to the beginning again. But just as before, what we now need to do is find the red files. So I'm going to find all 3 tracks simultaneously. No need to recover the MXF data again. Go back to list capture, and again we have the list of files that we need. Capture timecode, first file header, match name. This time, because we have the Avid patch in place, we're going to use tape name. From the file name, set the directory back to 0 again, and go ahead and say capture. And make sure I'm looking at the right project. So there's the Financial Times folder, and again a list of various R3D captures. Go ahead and read through those directories. You can see how quickly it reads through these directories because of course we're not physically moving the information, we're just pointing to it. And in this case it's found most of the files, but there's 3 at the top here that were missed. And so what we're going to do now is go back again, but look for the second file header. The most common reason for using the second file header is if we're shooting high speed. Everything else can stay the same, so I'll just go ahead and click on that, tell it to go look for them. The most common reason for this would be high speed material. So the first time code will be off speed, and we can't use that, so then we read the time of day time code, and as you can see it's now found those shots. Now this sort of sets up a little bit of a warning light, because if it is high speed, then it's quite likely that these files are a different size, a different resolution to the rest of the material. So we'll see how to deal with that once we go back. But let's go ahead and conform that.